раз на бордире.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please turn on your camera for documentations? We will wait 10 seconds for you to do it. Thank you. Okay, I think everyone is ready. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep, thank you very much. Next, our discussion for today will be led by my colleague from Permira, Rizkina Mirza. Rizkina Mirza, now the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone in Indonesia, and good morning, everyone in Russia. Thank you for coming to our event, International Panel Discussion of Indonesia and Russia. Before we start our main session, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rizkina. I am graduate student of National Research Tom State University, Tom, Siberia, Russia, as well as the member of Association of Indonesian Students in Russia. All right, let's not waste time anymore. Let's listen carefully to our first keynote speaker, Mrs. Lyudmila Georgievna Varabyova, the ambassador of Russian Federation for the Republic of Indonesia. Mrs. Lyudmila will give presentation about designing Indonesia from outside.
Hello, everybody in Moscow and in Jakarta. Привет всем в Москве и в Джакарте. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to this meaningful event. I'm really honored and privileged. And the topic I was asked to speak about is actually diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Russia. And as far as I understand, the prospect of how our diplomatic relation can help or contribute to prosperity of both Indonesia and Russia by year 2045. First of all, let me ask you about the meaning of diplomacy. What is diplomacy? In my point of view, now we have a lot of kind of diplomacy. People speak about cultural diplomacy, soft power, even gastro diplomacy. But in the classical meaning of this term, it is first of all a peaceful way to resolve conflicts through dialogue and promoting cooperation, and it is all about peace and friendship. You can describe a diplomat as a professional friend, because the job of the diplomat is first of all to promote friendship between countries. You know this famous saying that when diplomats talk, the guns are silent, or a joke that if you don't want to talk to Minister Lavrov, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, you will have to deal with Minister Shoigu, who is the Minister of Defense. So first of all, the diplomacy is all about friendship and cooperation. So what has diplomacy brought to relations between our two countries? First of all, let me remind you that last year in February, Russia and Indonesia have commemorated the 70 years of diplomatic relations. In the retrospective of history of mankind, that may not seem a very long period, but for our two countries, Russia and Indonesia, those years were full of bright and meaningful events, relationship based on mutual trust, friendship, and even brotherhood. For Russia today, Indonesia is one of the most important partners in Southeast Asia and the Asia Pacific. We have very dynamic interaction in various areas, including cultural, humanitarian communication, and of course, education. You're all witnesses to that. Before I go to the present state of our relations, let me remind you some of interesting facts that you may not be familiar with. You know that the first information about the territories that are now under the borders of modern Indonesia, about the people and culture, appeared in Russia as early as in 11th century. The monk of Kievo-Pechorsky monastery called Nestor mentioned your country in his famous book, The Novel of Temporary Years. In Russia is Повесть временных лет. In this book, Nestor described a mysterious and faraway country of Ostrovnitsa. Ostrovnitsa, of course, comes from Ostrov, which is Pulau or island. Modern scientists are convinced that under the term of Ostrovnitsa, Nestor described Indonesia, what is now Indonesia. Later on, more and more data was coming about Indonesian territories and culture. In 1806, the Russian researchers Ivan Krusenstern and Yuri Lysyansky passed through Sunda Strait and South China Sea on their sailing ships Nadezhda and Neva during their trip around the world. Krusenstern and Lysyansky made geographical maps of Indonesian seas and islands, brought to Russia the pictures of local people describing their culture and way of life, as well as information about flora and fauna of Indonesia. Famous Russian writer Ivan Goncharov described Java Island as the most luxurious place in the world. Of course, it's impossible not to mention the name of an outstanding Russian scientist, Nikolai Miklucha-Maklai, who spent 10 years making research studies in Indonesian regions, including Ambon and Halmahera Islands, as well as in the Papuan territories. Since that time, the name Maklai has become a very common name among Papuan people. The same as after 1961, the name of Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin has become very popular all over Indonesia. And you know that recently in March, a monument to Yuri Gagarin was inaugurated in Jakarta. This monument is a present from people of Moscow to people of Jakarta, because Moscow and Jakarta are sister cities. First consulate of Russian Empire in Batavia was established in 1893. Modest Bakunin served as Russian consul during the period of time between 1893 and 1899. Afterwards, he wrote a book, Tropical Holland, where he described the life, culture, and traditions of Indonesian people, as well as beautiful nature of Indonesian islands. Twice, members of Russian royal family visited Indonesia. In 1890, future Russian Emperor, then Crown Prince Nikolai II, Nikolai II, visited Batavia during his trip to Far East. And in 1918, Great Duke Boris Vladimirovich, on his way back from Bangkok, had a stay in Batavia. Russian-Indonesia friendship became very strong under the presidency of Sukarno. You know that President Sukarno was a very good friend of the Soviet Union. He visited our country 4 times. By the way, the Indonesian word saudara, brother, which was so popular in your country during Sukarno era, is very close in meaning and pronunciation to the Russian word sudar. You may know that. Sukarno addressed our people as saudara, saudara, or brothers. Of course, we had up and downs in our relationship, but in the recent 20 years, our relation have been growing stronger and stronger, especially since in 2003, then President Ibu Megawati Sukarnoputra visited Moscow, met with President Putin, and signed a declaration on partnership between our 2 countries. As I mentioned, Indonesia is a key partner of Russia in Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific. We share similar views on most of the issues in the world, which was proved by our very tight cooperation during the period when Indonesia was the non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. If you followed the events because of the joint efforts of Russia, Indonesia, and other members of the Security Council, the snapback sanctions against Iran were prevented when the United States initiated the process. We cooperated very well and we prevented from that happening. We also share the view of Indonesia on the fact that all countries, be it big or small, poor or rich, should have equal access to the anti-COVID vaccines in these difficult times of the world pandemic. And no country should use the vaccine as a political instrument to exercise pressure or discrimination on other countries. You know that for the last 3 years, Indonesia was the coordinator of ASEAN-Russia Dialogue Partnership, and we also cooperated very tightly in the framework of this mechanism. And this year we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of our dialogue partnership with ASEAN. Our bilateral cooperation is developing in line with the agreements reached during the meetings between the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, and the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, which took place in Sochi in May 2016 and Singapore in November 2018. Our two leaders had a very meaningful telephone conversation in April last year. And of course, we are looking forward to the visit of the Russian president to Indonesia, which should have happened last year in conjunction with the 70th anniversary of our diplomatic relation, but due to the COVID restriction was postponed, but hopefully it can happen when the conditions will improve, and we are looking at this visit next year, probably. We enjoy a very high level of interaction between the ministries of foreign affairs of our two countries. You also probably know that very recently in July this year, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, visited Indonesia. And he had very good meetings with the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ibu Retno Marsudi, and Secretary General of ASEAN, Mr. Lim Chok Hoi. And we're very glad that in line with the agreements reached during the meetings with the Indonesian leadership in August this year, the National Food and Drug Agency of Indonesia finally issued the authorization to use Russian Sputnik V vaccine in your country. We really appreciate this decision, and we see it as a good sign of our friendly relation, and we hope that that will be a very good contribution to the fight against the pandemic. I hope the students who are in Moscow could also be vaccinated by Sputnik V and be safe and healthy. Our trade and economic ties are developing in a very dynamic way. According to the Russian statistics, and there are some disparities between the Russian and Indonesian statistics, in the first half of this year, our bilateral trade was $1.5 billion, which exceeds the numbers of the same period of the last year by 30%. So the trade has, despite the pandemic, our trade has grown by 30%. I also want to point out that Indonesian export to Russia is much bigger than the Russian import to Indonesia. It can be explained by comfortable conditions that were created by the Russian government for Indonesian business. We also hope for an increase of import of Russian goods to Indonesia, first of all with regards to the high-tech products. Of course, if you look at our joint population of more than 400 million, the volume trade that we had last year, which was a little more than $2 billion is definitely not enough. Our leaders have set a target to increase the trade volume to $5 billion. So the Russian embassy in Indonesia is working hard to achieve this numbers. And of course, we have a very good potential in many areas where we can increase our trade and investment. It is, of course, energy, including nuclear energy. You are very well aware, I'm sure, that in Russia, we use the nuclear energy, despite the fact that we're a country that is very rich in oil and gas. But still, nuclear energy accounts for about 20% of all the electricity generated in Russia. We have a very good experience in helping our foreign partners to build and operate nuclear facilities. So if and when Indonesian government will be ready to use the nuclear energy, we will be very happy to assist you in any ways we can. We have a good potential in oil, gas, and mining industry, mineral processing, transport infrastructure, aircraft and shipbuilding industries, information and communication technologies, nano and biotechnologies, agriculture, and pharmaceuticals. At present time, Russia is implementing several investment projects in Indonesia. In particular, since 2016, the oil company Rosneft, together with PT Pertamina, are constructing refinery and petrochemical complex in Tuban, East Java, and Russian company Zarubezhneft is currently working on exploitation of oil and gas reserves in South China Sea near the Natuna Islands. Russian IT business is also very much present in Indonesia. Maybe you've heard about taxi service Maxim, which is now operating in more than 60 Indonesian cities, operated by a Russian IT company. I've seen many Maxim taxis in different cities of Indonesia that I visited. And of course, you all know that Russia is a member of the Eurasian Economic Union.
Excuse me, Mrs. Lyudmila, sorry for interrupting. You have 2 minutes left.
Okay. So I would like also to say that, okay, so now the 2 minutes, I will dedicate them to humanitarian and education cooperation. I'm very happy to say that the Russian government, which, as you know, provides quotas for Indonesian students, is considering to increase the numbers of quota that we give to Indonesia by 100 quotas. So at present, this year, it is 163 quotas, but for the next academic year, most probably we will have more than 200 quotas for Indonesian students. And I really hope that they will be all used and you will enjoy being in Russia and getting education in Russia. I would like to conclude that despite the current pandemic, Russian-Indonesian relations are on the rise. And I'm confident that in future, our joint efforts will further lead to their strengthening for the sake of people of our two countries. Thank you for your attention. Спасибо за внимание. Thank you.
Spasibo большое, Mrs. Lyudmila. Thank you for the insightful speech. Now we know the meaning of diplomacy and diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Russia, as well as the prospects of diplomatic ties between the two countries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue our discussion with Mr. Lubarto Sartoyo. Mr. Sartoyo is the chairman of the Import and Export Association Committee for Workers throughout Indonesia.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sartoyo.
At the beginning, let me express my respect to organizer of this event, to Mrs. Ambassador of Russia to Indonesia, Ludmila Georgievna, to Ambassador of Indonesia to Russia and Republic of Belarus, Mr. José Tovares, who established this association last year, and to all respected speakers. My report will deal with the prospects for trade and economic cooperation between Russia and Indonesia. But first of all, I want to talk about my organization, our Association of Exporters and Importers. This association was established by the oldest public organization in Russia, the Moscow Association of Interpreters, which has existed since 1989. Our strategic objectives: promotion the international transport corridors, creation of a new contact fields, networking, promoting the development of exporters and importers. We work is carried out with the relevant ministers: Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Economic Development, Ministry of Education, of course, and Asia. We're also working with the Chamber of Commerce of Russian Federation, with Chamber of Commerce of Regions, Chamber of Commerce, Foreign Chamber of Commerce, diplomatic missions, foreign associations like yours. At the beginning of my speech, I want to tell you about my trip to the Eastern Economic Forum, which was in Vladivostok. A number of sessions were held where I was a speaker. We discussed exactly the issues of expanding interaction in the field of economics, trade relations, cooperation, and investment. I would like to note that the rhetoric of this speech, not only mine, but also of respected government officials, was aimed at improving the economic climate and increasing between our countries. For example, when I talk with Viktor Yevtukhov, the Deputy Minister of Ministry, Industry and Trade of Russia, and when I ask him direct question, which country is priority in a Pacific Ocean perimeter, he replied, Indonesia. Indeed, I agreed, as a speaker noted earlier. Last year, we celebrated 70 years since the conclusion of the diplomatic relationship between Russia and Indonesia. And indeed, it should be noted that there are some similarity between two countries. Our countries is the length of a territory, big countries. Both countries are located in the intersection of trade routes. Both countries are rich in minerals. It should be noted the multinationality of both countries, but at the same time, the difference between the peoples inhabiting them. But the most important, both countries are manufacturing and industrial powers. Of course, during this long time, we have accumulated sufficient experience, but I believe that the potential of the mutual beneficial cooperation has not been fully appreciated at the moment. The current state of the trade does not reflect the potential of such large and wealthy two countries. According to our information, the trade turnover between our countries in 2019 amounted to $3 billion. And in 2020, it dropped to the $0.4 billion. It's very, very little, I think so. And I think no one will argue with this. True, the good news for the first quarter of 2021, the turnover increased in 18%. Where I can find that through joint effort, we will be able to raise trade turnover to a new level. What necessary to increase trade between our countries? First of all, consider Indonesia as a strategic long-term partner. Reduce trade barriers. Simplify bureaucracy procedures. Increase knowledge of the markets of both countries. Improve business cooperation. Develop investment opportunities. Develop technological and innovative areas. In conditions of limited movement, for example, coronavirus, to develop digitalization. Number of products with high added value. I would like to focus on the problems faced by businessmen from our countries. This is, of course, geographical distance, lack of free trade zone, lack of all information about us, about our countries, logistic problem also, and associated costs. We are witnessing a new round of mutual business interest of Russian and Indonesian companies, which are ready to meet halfway, not with simple standard buy and sell project, but with technological and innovative solutions. We see the huge range of cooperation between us in the fields. For example, energy, from nuclear to alternative energy, petrochemicals, internet technology, also transport, railways, civil aviation, mechanical engineering, medicine and pharmaceutical sector, agriculture, including halal products, tourism, expansion to cooperation in the field of ecology, expansion of export and import of education, including business education of our country. We would like to draw your attention, since you are young people and education is a topic issue for you. I want to say that the increase in export and import not possible without trust between the parties, between the countries, without knowledge of the business and country in which you want to do the business. In this regard, the personal training policy is very important. And there is opportunity of this in our country. There are business schools in Russia with special training programs. For example, you will listen to today about it. Russian business school in Skolkovo, MBA program for Asia of Far Eastern University, business program of Synergy Corporation, Financial University. So I know that in Indonesia, there is a business school too, and that it's necessary to build cooperation of this. So I want to announce that in August, that a cooperation agreement was seen between our company, Mirai Group, and PT PPI Persero. And at the present time, active work is underway to increase the supply of manufacturers' goods. A little bit about numbers. Trade turnover between Russia and Indonesia in the first quarter of this year, it amounted, of course, in US dollars, increase 18 compared to the same period 2020. Russian export to Indonesia in the first quarter decreased of 6% compared to the same period. Russian import from Indonesia in the first quarter increased 27% compared to the same period 2020. Export of Russia to Indonesia. In the structure of Russian export to Indonesia in the first quarter, the main share of supplies fell on the following types of goods. What is? Chemical industrial products, 50% of all Russian export to Indonesia. Mineral products, 31%. Metal and metal products, 11%. Wood and pulp and paper production, 4%. Food products and agriculture raw materials, 2.5%. The largest increase in Russia export to Indonesia in first quarter 2021 compared to the first quarter of 2020 was recorded for the following products groups. Fertilizers increased $71 million. Paper and paperboard increased to $4 million. Salt and sulfur, 2 million.
Excuse me, Mr. Sartoyo, you have 5 minutes left.
Okay. Essential oils, perfumes, cosmetics increased 1 million. Wood and wooden product increased 1 million too. The largest reduction in Russia export to Indonesia in the first quarter was recorded for the following products group. Ferrous metals decreased $50 million. Mineral fuels, oil and products decreased 5 million. Aluminium and articles thereof, 2 million reduction. Import of Russia from Indonesia. In the structure of Russia import from Indonesia, this is a food products and agriculture raw materials, 62% of the total volume of Russia import from Indonesia. Textile and footwear, 11%. Machinery, equipment and vehicles, 9.5%. Chemical industry products, 9%. Metal and metal products, 2%. The largest increase in Russia import from Indonesia in the first quarter was recorded for the following product groups. Animal or vegetable fats and oil increased $85 million. Coffee, tea, spices increased $12 million. Electrical machinery and equipment increased $8 million. Cacao and cacao products increased $5 million. Chemicals increased $4 million. Rubber and articles thereof increased $3 million. Toys, games, and sport equipment increased $2 million. And in the end of my speech, what I want to say that our countries are very big history relationships, and we have a huge potential in export and import. And in your hands, in our power to increase our export and import. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sartoyo, for your insightful speech. Now we understand the comparison of exports and imports between Indonesia and Russia, and how exports and imports between the two countries are beneficial and impactful. All right, and now let's move to our guest speaker from Russia. Please welcome Mr. Oleg Remiga, the economist and financial expert and the representative of Moscow School of Management of Skolkovo, one of top schools of management in Russia and #1 in Eastern Europe.
Dear friends, thank you for this opportunity for being with us this beautiful day. So let me take an opportunity to give you a little bit insights of how we as a business school work within international cooperation and basically what products we use, I mean educational products, to build very important factor to build bridges and mutual trust between different companies, different markets. I will start a little bit from the philosophy. Maybe we strongly believe that without trust and building strong networks between nations, it's impossible actually to make business, because at the bottom line of all business processes lies, of course, the mutual trust. So we're trying to provide another way of humanitarian cooperation between nations and actually business people, companies actually, when we try not to give them consulting, not to give them education, but providing them business education and different training programs. I would like here to show you the presentation. So I hope organizers did give you the permission to do this, and then I will give some details about what we do. I don't want really to focus more on maybe saying too much words about our school as it is, but I would like to give more your understanding of the product we're having and how it helps people work with Russian market. So as lots of people say, we have high on the agenda objectives to increase the mutual trade between Russia and Indonesia. We actually have to double these numbers. Current numbers are slightly above $2 billion, and in 3 years, actually now in 2 years, because we are now in 2021, we have to increase it to $5 billion. It's really challenging things, given that there are still lots of challenges between the markets which we do have nowadays. If we look at the current state of import from Indonesia, and this is a big part of economic cooperation between our countries, then the majority of it goes to food products and agricultural goods. So this is actually the market we would like to, which we have currently, and this is the existing cooperation which we can build on. Nevertheless, since we're a business school, we're trying to focus on key challenges which businesses in Russia and Indonesia are facing. Basically, they are pretty much the same across the nations and also across Indonesian and Russian entrepreneurs. So first of all, this is the legal question. So lots of companies do not understand in details what is happening in the legal sphere, what are tax legislature, or for example, which tax exclusions you can get in Russia and Indonesia, which is actually a big part of business. I will just tell you one example. One of our small and medium enterprises, for example, which study at the degree program, MBA program at Skolkovo, they're doing an interesting real estate business in Indonesia, because one of the islands has been opened, I mean, the real estate, the land, to the foreigners. So foreigners can invest directly and own land on one of the islands. So that was a big business for him, and he actually started it from the scratch like a year ago. So this is a really important factor. The language barrier, it's not so important as it used to be, but still, then it's important to understand the consumers, especially if you work in the fields of agricultural goods. You know that tastes in Asia are different from the tastes in Russia, for example, and it's a big factor. Not giving the deeper understanding of how you should market your product as well as present your product. Then, of course, understanding the mindset and business culture, which are different in our countries. And what is also important, and it's very important that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually started our conversation. This is the support from the local authorities for Russian company in Indonesia and for Indonesian companies in Russia. So if you want to take a very rough understanding on what are the key successful factors behind all the business connections between the two countries, therefore, to get the knowledge of the local legislature, the second factor is to have good professionals on your board within your team, have a good understanding of mindset and consumer behaviors on the market, and establish a good network, both with local partners and local authorities. Based on that, we actually created, and it's not only for Indonesian partners, but also focusing on that, a special program, which is called Understanding Russia. This is a corporate program. We call it tailor-made corporate program, which basically means that we change it according to the client's needs. We usually have a partner, a business school or a large company, state-owned company or private company, which has some business interests in Russia. In order to develop their teams, we create a free 7 days program, which basically consists of 3 parts. First part is academic, when we give them the understanding of what is happening on the market in terms of culture, politics, and economy. Then giving deep dive into the industries, basically focusing on the industries which this particular company would like to get a deeper understanding. It can be financial, energy sector, agriculture, whatever you like, actually. And the third is
Excuse me,
building
Mr.
network.
Remiga,
Yeah.
you have 5 minutes left.
Great, that will be fair enough. And well, that is behind the concept which we have behind the program. So again, our professors is practitioners from business as well as government officials and experts in each field of the Russian economy. We also organize the visits both to government bodies as well as company visits to establish the connections and get the understanding what is happening within the companies. And some cultural experience, which is important. This is the psychological factor. To get the better understanding of the theory, you need some practice to accumulate it. So our partners is once again key Russian state-owned companies, private companies, and government bodies of Russia. The school was founded by the top Russian leaders, so top 10 people from the Russian Forbes list. This is the founders of our school, as well as they have government support from Dmitry Medvedev, who is the vice president of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. We have all international accreditations within our school, lots of programs. I think organizers which can share with you this presentation after our conversation. We do have 10 experts, 11 expert institutions which provide deep dive into the different industries of Russian economy, and some thoughts from our president and one of the biggest entrepreneur from China, who also spoke very warmly about our school. So just to give you the understanding of what we do. So this is again the platform of mutual trust between the two countries. So whenever you would like to get a deeper understanding of what is happening on the local market and build bridges within companies and real business, then you can ask us, believe us, we can really help you in this sphere. So we will be more than happy to connect deeper with Indonesian corporate sector as well as key business schools. Thank you for attention, and once again, thank you for bringing us to this wonderful event. Have a great day. Thank you.
Спасибо вам большое, Mr. Remiga. And now, please welcome our second guest speaker from Russia, Tatiana Poltaviets. She is the head of MBA program Export to Asia Academy of Management for Federal University Vladivostok. And she will present, she will do presentation about the strategic role of Indonesian students to improve the quality of Indonesia and Russia. The presentation will be carried out in Russian, but it will be interpreted into English.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is
Hello.
Tatiana Poltaviets. I'm the head of the MBA Export to Asia program at the Management Academy of the Far Eastern Federal University. I'm glad to see you. I have an interpreter, Nikolai, which will translate my words. So for now, I will speak Russian. Please, Nikolai.
Yes.
Рада приветствовать участников и спикеров мероприятия: Людмила Георгиевна, Мартен Ханура, Любарта Сартоя, Олег Ремыга. Кризис пандемии.
I'm happy to greet the participants and speakers of the event.
Кризис пандемии открыл нам новые возможности и стал стимулом развития инновационных технологий в сфере образования и бизнеса. Для того, чтобы научиться видеть и внедрять эти возможности, нам необходимо развивать навыки управления и предпринимательского мышления у студентов. Вкратце я хотела бы сначала рассказать вам о нашем университете, о школе экономики и менеджмента и об Академии управления.
The pandemic crisis opened to us new opportunities for the development of innovative technologies in the field of education and business. In order to learn how to see and implement these opportunities, we need to develop management skills and entrepreneurial thinking in students. I would like to first tell you in short about our university, about the School of Economics and Management and the Academy of Management in general.
Дальневосточный федеральный университет является крупнейшим интеллектуально-образовательным и проектно-аналитическим центром на Дальнем Востоке России, расположенным на острове Русский, на берегу бухты Аякс.
The Far Eastern Federal University is the largest intellectual, educational, project design, and analytical center in the Russian Far East, located on Russky Island on the shore of the Ajax Bay.
У нас обучается более 23 тысяч студентов из 68 регионов России и 74 стран мира. Концентрация в университете международных образовательных программ и научных исследований, наличие ученых и преподавателей с мировым именем, уникальное оборудование. Все это позволяет создавать условия для обучения и воспитания нового поколения, мотивированных и современно мыслящих молодых людей.
We have more than 23,000 students from the 68 regions of Russia and 74 countries of the world. And international education programs, world-renowned scientists and professors, and an unique campus create conditions for education and new generation of motivated and ambitious people.
Наш университет входит в топ международных рейтингов.
Our university is a member of the top international rankings.
Мы имеем представительство в 4 странах и являемся членами международных ассоциаций.
We have representative offices in 4 countries, and we are members of international associations.
Этому благоприятствует уникальное геополитическое расположение Дальневосточного федерального университета, которое обеспечивает роль ведущего российского центра образования и науки на Дальнем Востоке, как связующего и коммуникационного звена между двумя крупными развивающимися рынками – Россией и стран Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона.
This is facilitated by the unique geopolitical location of FIFO, which ensures the role of the leading Russian center of education and science in the Far East as a communication link between two large emerging markets, Russia and the Asia-Pacific region countries.
Школа экономики и менеджмента, являясь структурной единицей ДВФУ, является международной платформой для обучения, исследований и экспертизы в области экономики и менеджмента Сибири и Дальнего Востока. Мы вносим свой вклад в социально-экономическое развитие региона.
The School of Economics and Management, as a structural unit of FIFO, is also an international platform for training, research, and expertise in the field of economics and management in Eastern Siberia and the Far East of Russia. We contribute to the social and economic development of the entire region.
В школе учатся более 4000 студентов, в том числе более 500 иностранных. Студенты могут выбрать обучение по 31 образовательной программе и продолжить свое профессиональное развитие.
More than 4,000 students study at the school, including more than 500 foreign students. Students can choose education in 31 education programs and continue their professional development.
Далее я вас познакомлю с Академией управления ДВФУ. Это образовательное ядро экосистемы формирования и развития предпринимателей и управленцев.
Next, I want to introduce you to the FIFO Management Academy. This is an educational core of the ecosystem for the formation and development of managers and entrepreneurs.
Наша миссия – создавать уникальные ценности и компетенции, которые позволят выпускникам конкурировать на международном рынке труда и запускать успешные проекты в области бизнеса и государственного сектора.
Our mission to create unique values and competences that enable alumni to compete in the international labor market and run successful projects in business and public sector.
Мы поддерживаем гибкий формат обучения.
We have and supporting a flexible training format, education format.
У нас действующие программы Executive MBA, программа трансформации себя и систематизации бизнеса, а также программа Master в Public Administration, программа подготовки управленческих кадров новой формации для развития Дальнего Востока.
We have active programs.
Извините, Татьяна Полтавец, у вас осталось 5 минут. You have 5 minutes
Спасибо.
left.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have active programs such as an executive MBA, program of transformation of ourselves and systemization of business, such as an MBA, training of a new formation of management personnel for the development of the Russian Far East.
Программы международного формата MBA Business in Asia, масштабирование существующего бизнеса и инвестирование в Азию, а также программа MBA Export to Asia, реализация экспортных идей и возможностей.
International programs such as MBA Business in Asia, Scoring Up and Active Business and Investing in Asia, and MBA Export to Asia program, implementation of export ideas and opportunities.
Мы активно сотрудничаем с нашими партнерами и развиваем новые проекты. Из последних проект с корпоративным университетом РЖД.
We actively cooperate with our partners and develop new projects, as with the Corporate University of Russian Railways.
Мы гордимся нашими российскими экспертами и профессорами мирового уровня.
We are proud of our Russian experts and professors of the world-class scale.
Особая гордость – это наши визионеры-профессоры, иностранные эксперты мирового уровня.
Special proud that we have world-class foreign experts.
Мы поддерживаем широкую партнерскую сеть с топовыми университетами и бизнес-школами, как России, так и мира.
We support a wide partner network with top universities and business schools in Russia and the Asia-Pacific region.
В заключение хочу сказать, я как руководитель программы MBA Export to Asia вижу большой потенциал в развитии торговых отношений между Россией и Индонезией, а также сотрудничество в реализации образовательных программ. Вы можете отправить нам запрос по интересующим вопросам. Благодарю вас за внимание. Ждем вас в Школе экономики и менеджмента Академии управления ДВФУ Дальневосточного федерального университета. Welcome.
In conclusion, I would like to say that as a program manager, I see great potential in the development of trade relations between Russia and Indonesia and in joint educational programs. You can send your requests to us for your questions. Thank you for your attention. We're welcome to see you at the School of Economics and Management and the Management Academy.
Nikolai, next slide, please. Thank you.
Спасибо вам большое, Татьяна Подовец, за презентацию и за перевод.
Спасибо.
Now please welcome our speaker from Indonesia, Mr. Martin Hanura. Mr. Hanura is the lecturer of international relations at Diponegoro University, Central Java, Semarang, as well as the alumni of Gajah Mada University and Turkey State University, Russia.
Okay, thank you for MC introduce me. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Здравствуйте, Ludmila Georgievna, Professor Sudaryanto, Mr. Lubiarto Sardoyo, Oleg Remgia, and I would say thank you for Association Indonesian Student in Russia that inviting me in this event. I'm very happy because we can meet with junior association student and alumni. So I would like to convey the topic, dynamics of Indonesia-Russia bilateral relations. Now I'm a lecturer in International Relations Department of Diponegoro University, Semarang. And I want to convey about topic dynamics of Indonesia-Russia bilateral relations, challenges and opportunities. The value used by the two countries was to establish bilateral cooperation between Indonesia and Russia that I want in the first define how is a foreign policy. Foreign policy consists of two elements, national objective to be achieved and means for achieving them. And the interaction between national goals and the resources for attaining in the perennial subject of statecraft. In its ingredients, the foreign policy of all nations, great and small, is the same. And foreign policy is a strategy or plan of action formed by the decision makers of a country in dealing with other countries between Indonesia and Russia, or other international political units and control to achieve specific national goals as outlined in the terminology of national interest. And also, foreign policy can be influenced by many variables, including its history of alliances. We know Indonesia has a history when very close ties when Nikita Khrushchev and Sukarno and with the other countries, and also its culture, form of government, size, geographical location, economic ties, and military strengths. So the cooperative relationship between Indonesia and Russia are basically inseparable from the national interests of each country. And national interest is a very vital element which includes survival of nation and state, independence, territorial integrity, security, military, and economic welfare. And then relationship is carried out within the framework of free and active Indonesian, because Indonesian foreign policy have principle free and active base. That the based on the principle of mutual respect and a mutually beneficial relationship, both through a group and bilateral approach. Cooperation that has been and is being carried out between Indonesia and Russia. We know in 1959, the Soviet Union lent foreign debt funds amounting to 12.5 million US dollar in July 1959 to finance the construction of a sports stadium in Indonesia with a capacity of 102,000 spectators to host the Asian Games sports party. The leader of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, made a diplomatic visit to Indonesia, which at the same time provided of a credit of 250 million US dollar and 20 bed units for hospital in Indonesia in 1960. Furthermore, the Indonesian Minister of Defense, at that moment, General Ahar Nasution, led the Indonesian delegation to the Soviet Union to purchase weapons for the Indonesian military and manage the obtain the rate $450 million credit from the Soviet Union. And that day, the strength of the Navy increased 5 times in Indonesia with the importance of combat equipment from Russia. Also, in the field of education, the two heads of state agreed to establish the University of the Friendship of Nations in Moscow, called Lumumba University Patricia, which has later renamed Patricia Lumumba University. Nikita Khrushchev also invited Indonesian students to study in the Soviet Union with scholarship from the Soviet government. Now, cooperation relationship when Joko Widodo government, the relationship between Indonesia and Russia during the time of President Joko Widodo can be seen at the beginning of the inauguration of Joko Widodo as President of the Republic of Indonesia. One of the special envoys who attended the inauguration at the event was Denis Manturov. Denis is the Russian Minister of Trade and Industry, who is special envoy Russian President Vladimir Putin. On that occasion, Denis had time to convey congratulations from Putin to Jokowi. He explained that in the near future, Putin will meet the Jokowi, and the meeting will discuss bilateral relations between the two countries from various fields. In addition, also another moment was when Indonesia and Russia commemorated the 65th anniversary of diplomatic relations on 2015. Indonesian President Joko Widodo and Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed to further enhance relations and cooperation between the two countries by taking advantage of the commemoration momentum. This was conveyed in the congratulatory message exchanged by the two presidents. According to President Jokowi,
Mr. Hanura, you have 5 minutes left.
According to President Jokowi, Indonesia-Russia bilateral relations are growing stronger based on the spirit of friendship, equality, mutual respect, and mutual understanding. Meanwhile, President Putin, in his congratulatory message, said that based on good tradition, Indonesia-Russia relations are actively which include areas which were emphasized by the meeting of the President of Russia and the President of Indonesia on sidelines of APEC summit in Beijing. And also the exchange of congratulations was also conveyed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of two countries. Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov hope that relations between the two countries can be even closer in the future. And several cooperation Indonesia and Russia in the field energy. For the example, PT Pertamina signed a framework agreement for the development of the gas root refinery located in Tuban, East Java, with an oil and gas company from Russia. This is the initial state of refinery construction, which is expected to be completed in 2021. This investment is worth rate 12 billion US dollar until 13 billion US dollar. And in the field cooperation in politics, chairman of the Council of Regional Representative, Russian Federation, the role of parliament in supporting peace and stability in the arena. The consular representative between countries signed MOU contains the interest of the parties to enhance inter-parliamentary cooperation through dialogue and consultation in international parliamentary organizations such as the Inter-Parliamentary Union and the Asia-Pacific Parliamentary Forum. And then cooperation in the economic field. The value of bilateral trade between Indonesia and Russia reached 1.98 billion US dollars. The products that Indonesia export to Russia are CPO, 50% of total trade, and then furniture, fish, chocolate, butter, tea, coffee, and also product imported by Indonesia from Russia are defense equipment, steel, fertilizer, metal, synthetic, rubber, and aluminum. Russia is also one of the largest foreign investors in Indonesia, especially in hospitality and restaurant. Russia has also shown interest in investing in infrastructure, mining, and energy. And then I want to convey about Indonesia-Russia cooperation prospect. I think as the country coordinator of the ASEAN-Russia partnership for 2008 and 2021 period, Indonesia has set three priority areas for cooperation, namely in counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and disaster management issues. Indonesia also succeeded in facilitating the improvement of ASEAN cooperation with Russia to become a strategic partnership partner with ASEAN. Meanwhile, the President of Republic Indonesia also made a visit to Europe, namely to Russia, at 2016, which resulted in an investment commitment of 13 billion US dollar from Russia. Meanwhile, increasing bilateral...
Sorry, Mr. Hanura, you have 1 minute left.
Okay. Meanwhile, increasing bilateral relation in the field of education, IT, and creative industry was also carried out with a number of countries in Eastern and Southeastern Europe, including engagement with research and development centers for technology and industry from Russia. In order to encourage the strengthening of cooperation with partner countries in assisting the national economic recovery COVID-19 pandemic, there is also an opportunity for Indonesia to become an alternative destination country for outbound investment, as well as a global supply chain system for countries in Eastern and Southeastern Europe, especially Russia. I think that's I can fit in this topic. Hopefully the cooperative relation between Indonesia and Russia will improve in the future. Thank you. Spasiba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanura, for your insightful speech. Now, we're going to have question and answer session. Anyone wants to ask our speakers, please ask your questions in English. You may ask directly or write on chat. Please mention your name, university, and the speaker you want to ask. Okay. Adnial Rumza. Yes, you may ask a question.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Adnial Rumza. I'm an alumni from Russia. I graduated from Prudent, Moscow around 10 years ago. Now I work as a senior lawyer in one of the top law firm in Indonesia, IZA and IZA law firm, under the guidance of the one of national figure in law and politics, Professor Yusril Iza Mahendra. So we agree that within the years, investment and trading relationship coming from Russia have hugely increased in Indonesia, and I believe Indonesia is still a juicy market with a lot to offer. So my question is for our Russian friends. which become our honor speaker today, especially Gaspaja Lyudmila Georgievna Vorobyova. From the perspective of Russian people, what is the major obstacle for Russia people in order to start investment in Indonesia? And what do you think about COVID-19, as it seems to continue affecting a lot of activities in Indonesia, which I believe it has changed the perspective of how people run businesses throughout the world. So will Russia see the COVID-19 as an opportunity, or it will become a challenge for Russian investor? So thank you. That's my question.
Okay, so thank you, Adnia Rumza, for the question. Actually, the question is for Mrs. Lyudmila, but unfortunately, Mrs. Lyudmila has left the forum. So this question is...
So maybe I can ask to our other Russian friends, which become speakers today. Maybe can help to answer. Thank you.
Mr. Ramiga and Mrs. Mrs. Tatiana Paltaviets. Mr. Ramiga. Mr. Oleg Ramiga, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry, friends. Would you be so kind to repeat the question? Yes, I was a little bit off for the call. So, Andre, will you be so kind to repeat the question? I will do my best to answer.
Okay.
Okay,
Adnia
so
Rumza, please repeat the question.
Yeah, so basically my question is, from the perspective of Russian people, what is the major obstacle for Russian people in order to start investment in Indonesia? And what do you think about COVID-19, as it seems to continue affecting a lot of activities in Indonesia, which I believe it has changed the perspective of how people running businesses throughout the world. Will Russia see it as an opportunity, or the COVID-19 will become a challenge for Russian investor? Thank you.
Yeah, so for investors, basically, the key question is the safety of their money. So this is the first factor. So whenever the government or any government body can guarantee the safety of your investment locally, then that will be a very huge success factor to attract investors. The second thing is the legislature. So because at the end of the day, whenever you make investments, it's all about making money. So investors look at IRR, they look at MPV, so these hard investment indicators. So if this IRR and NPV is good and enough for the investor, and the taxation is not so high, because by making good taxation, you can, the local government, like Indonesian government, can vary and increase the money which foreign investors make on the local market. Again, this is a good example, as I told you during my speech. So lots of Russian investors, they, for example, started to invest in the real estate in Indonesia. For example, the deal was very easy. So you can buy land, you can develop this land and then sell it at premium. So he even making this real estate project in 2 years, he increased the price by like 5 times. So it's really huge IRR, even with high risk if you take the local market. So this is, I believe, the key success factors for bringing the investments. Regarding the COVID, yes, it's a challenging time for business, especially for investors, because it's not so easy to control the business remotely, and it's not so easy for coming to the facility, coming to the market to see what is happening with your, factory, real estate object or something like that. So it's really make, let's put it like this, it's make the risk higher. Nevertheless, lots of investors in industries, they are optimistic. So they understand that now the assets are pretty cheap. So everyone hope that COVID will end somehow in a year or in two. So it's high time to invest, because when the economies will grow in due course, in a year or in 2 years, then you can make you can buy the cheap assets when they really at the bottom of their price. So presumably, again, that's a good time. And if you take, for example, the international export and import operations, COVID is not so big factor, because now you can see a big trend, at least we see within our clients, that they now using heavily e-commerce platforms. So my actually notion is a big help for Russian Indonesian trade, and it will be easier to achieve this goal of 5 billion in 2023 by starting to invest or providing such e-commerce platforms. Because, for example, with other Asian countries, Russia do have such kind of platforms, and it's easier for exporters and importers to use this facility to organize their business processes even during COVID. Sorry if I was too long. Maybe Tatiana can add something to that if she's online.
Thank you for your explanation, Mr. Remiga. And okay, so all right, Gary Fadila, whom you want to ask, please mention your name and your university. I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Gary Fadila from RUDN. But I did not graduate from RUDN because I was a naughty person. And actually, now my background is I'm a pilot. I'm a captain of 737 and an instructor, and was a head of training in Indonesian major airline. And now I have my own education center, which is the Aviation Education Center. And I own that company, which is called the Rigel Aviation. I have a question, Alec. Sir Alec. At the end, we talk about money. That's what I'm interested in. Do you accept any partnership? So this is the key, what I've been thinking. For the alumni and the others, can we make a relationship with the Russian universities, things like that? We promote them, and here we make a preparation in my own country. Yes. Do you accept any partnership?
We do, and actually this is the model how we work in different markets. So it's more easier for us to start by making partnership with business schools, because presumably the structure of business schools are all the same all over the world. So whenever we talk about educational products, they exactly understand what we're talking about. What you're talking about is more working with universities, like not a business schools, because it's they are in Russia, particular. They are like very difficult animals. Too many bureaucracy. So it's not so easy, even if you are as an interpreter, come to them and say, guys, we are ready to sell your education products. We can help you attract more foreign students. The process takes like decades to organize everything. But it's a good market, so the Russian universities can accept such kind of partnership. And we also work with private companies, which help us providing our programs on local markets. So regarding our position, the simple answer is yes. Regarding your universities in Russia, I mean the standard one, I would doubt and just tell you that be careful. Some of them are really very bureaucratic, and that's really difficult for them to make business with them.
Okay. Why I ask that? Because that's the most feasible way that beneficial to the alumni. So we can make a partnership, means we can make a preparation program, like like informal preparation program before sending them to Russia. That might create employment fields to the alumni. Okay. So actually, I just came into this and to this seminar. I was really late, but I saw you were presenting something about the university or education, something like that. So what if we sell your program here? I don't know, your university or what? I don't know. We sell your program here. Once we sold them, the people who want to study in your country, our company, my company, we can make a preparation program, and that's great employment field for the alumni. That's the only feasible way. If we talk about coil, blah blah blah, it's beyond my purchasing power. And yeah.
Yeah, the best thing here is maybe not to use the time of other people who are now participating in the conference. Just let's contact after the forum and exchange the ideas how we can organize that. We are a business school, we are a private business school, so we are open to partnerships. So
you are business school, not university.
No, we are a business school. We're a business school. Moscow
business
school, management school, cool. Yeah, business
school. Oh, school. That's high school program?
Nope, it's a business school. That means that we work only with postgraduate people who have due experience in management, and they are like owners of the companies. So this is our key clients. We do not work with students. We're not. It's just the name of the school, like the school.
Okay.
But the business school work with this kind of clients.
All right. So, is there any chance? Okay, we'll talk later on, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
To use the
but I need your contact, all right?
Yeah. So you can. I will write my email in the chat. So if anyone wants to contact me, then you feel free to do this. We will be more than happy to talk to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So if you don't have any more questions, can we move to another participant? Okay, Robert. Are you with us? Robert? No? Okay. So now, okay. Anyone wants to ask?
Hello. Can I ask something?
Okay. All right.
Or is it just limited to some? I've been raising my hand. since the first time.
Okay.
But actually,
Thank you.
if give me 5 minutes, it will not be longer. Actually, thank you for Permira, greeting and honoring to all the speakers like Mr. Lumila Gergovna, Lubarto Sardoyo. We've been friends in Facebook, and I've seen like so many activity during export import because I'm the entrepreneur itself in St. Petersburg, doing the export import in between Russia and Indonesia. And Martin Hanura, my old friend, he's used to be the head of Permira as well, like this long time ago, 10 years. So I'm alumni from 2011, St. Petersburg State Medical University, named after Mechnikov. And I have several questions to several speakers actually, but basically to Miss Ludmila Georgovna, since she's not here, but maybe someone else could answer my question regarding the, I heard that in Russia, it used to open a border for vaccination tourism. It's like, it's some interesting scheme for me as a entrepreneur as well, to arrange like a tourism vaccination to Russia, from Indonesia to Russia. But if I don't know, there's no information how to arrange like the visas and all. It's like, is there maybe any other from embassy who could answer this question first? And second of all, about the vaccine Sputnik V, since it's been allowed in Indonesia to be sold or to be by BPOM, but the practice is we haven't seen yet till now. So it's unfortunate that Mr. Rudmila already left, but this is one question. Maybe Mr. Lubarto Sartoyo can help with this. Maybe you have some some information about this info. And second of all, about the export import, maybe to those who are doing the practices like Mr. Lubarto Sartoyo. And since we know during the pandemic, we have difficulties on getting a container and the pricing of the cargo. And a long time ago, I heard we talked with Miss Jose also regarding these problems and trying to solve this, but I haven't heard any solution. Maybe because as I see the report is the export import rising around 27 to 30%, like you have mentioned it, between Indonesia and Russia. So Russia is more imported products. So what about the cargo pricing in the market? Because all the exporters in Indonesia are claiming that this is a difficult situation, has to be solved. And one more question about Mirai Group. I didn't know exactly what is this Mirai Group. Since we are also entrepreneur, maybe we can talk about deeper, I don't know, co-working or something like that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Может пару
Yeah.
gitu, halo. Да. Если по-русски,
Yeah,
тоже нормально.
excuse
Я
me.
думаю, что здесь говорить
Yeah,
по-русски.
excuse me, because I have a call from my mom. I'm driving a car right now, and if you have a cab, if you have a direct question, please write to me.
Okay.
Organizer, please. Yeah. Please share my contact to.
Sure. I can write you on Facebook. It's okay. I have your contact.
Yeah?
We have chat in
Да,
Facebook.
мама позвонила, что-то плохо себя чувствует. Еду.
Все, соболезную. Все, тогда поправите,
Да,
пожалуйста. Да, извините.
Yeah.
Тогда общаемся.
All of your question I will.
Хорошо. Да, спасибо большое. Unfortunately, all the speakers cannot answer some questions. And maybe one more to Oleg Rimov.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll talk later. Oleg Remiga. I'm a student on Geekbrains. It's one of Skolkova I heard it. It's Skolkova. As I see, you have online. My question is, what about the education system? Is it online or offline scheme that you are offering to the business school students who will come to Russia to study? And maybe to Tatiana Poltavit, since now, as we know that it's very limited visa, even the student visa is not allowed. Like for now, до сих пор, вот сложная ситуация, даже студенты, которые хотели прийти в Россию, с визами они не могут получить до сих пор. То есть некоторые студенты учатся до сих пор удаленно. Получается, есть возможности как бы это открыть, либо когда в ближайшее время, или вообще попозже. То есть как бы когда это конкретно. То есть мы сейчас говорим там красиво, там мы будем учиться, там будем, не знаю, заниматься экспорт-импорт, но по факту там сейчас сложная ситуация по всему миру. То есть надо действовать как-то вот это государство или какое-нибудь там решение, как. Спасибо.
Да, разрешите?
Да, конечно, кто-то хотел ответить.
Да, разрешите я по-русски отвечу, да?
Да, без проблем.
Окей,
Можно
спасибо.
без проблем. То есть для меня это
Да, спасибо. Буквально на текущей неделе в открытой информации было доступно о том, что Россия открывает границы для иностранных студентов. Соответственно, необходимо смотреть индивидуально по стране, по эпидемиологической ситуации в стране, откуда студент, но с 1 сентября границы для иностранных студентов наши вузы, наша страна открыла.
Угу. То есть,
соответственно,
только Дальний Восток, да?
Обучение... Нет, вся Россия.
Это когда конкретно? То есть какой дату, какое
Да,
число?
Да,
какое,
необходимо посмотреть информацию на сайте Министерства образования. Да, и в зависимости от состояния, не только эпидемиологического состояния страны, в которой сейчас находится иностранный студент проживает, но эпидемиологическое состояние вуза. Вуза, например, обмена студентами между вузами и, соответственно, той страны, с которой планирует приехать студент. Более подробную информацию я, к сожалению, сейчас не могу дать, но такая новость звучала в средствах массовой информации. Онлайн-форматы, поддерживаются. Да, онлайн-форматы поддерживаются.
Okay, then let me answer, Andrew, to your question. So basically, the best way for you is to ask the embassy. I agree with Tatiana that there are some rumors about it.
But in fact, it's not according to rumors somehow.
Yeah, absolutely right. So that really depends on the country, the specific group, let's say the specific student. Because okay, let's put it like this. If we take our case, so since we work mostly not with students but with postgraduates, then it's really case by case thing. So we can handle with it. We apply to the embassy asking them to provide the special restriction for them if it is needed and all that stuff. But it's really also very difficult. So unfortunately, you need to apply to embassy, and since the embassy is online still, they hear us, so you can write down to them and get, I believe, very fast information about it. So this is the first thing. The second thing, yes, the majority of our classes we are now making online. Luckily, we do have the special infrastructure for that. So we call it a virtual glass room. So this is a special room where you have like, a professor within this room, and you have like 50 screens. Wow. So all the participants, this infrastructure is only we have in the Eastern Europe. Some global business schools also do have this infrastructure, but we have 3 such kind of rooms. So whenever you study in this room, you feel like being part of a TV show, and you don't feel like now we are just talking the screen. It's not so good. You feel like being part of, in interaction. It's really great. thing. So we do have a special infrastructure for that. So we don't feel it's a big challenge now. And we also make, and all global business schools do it, we call it a blended model. When you have, for example, if the group like foreign and local, we have two classes. We organize like rooms abroad, and the classroom here at Russia. We have the professor here at Russia, Russian professor, with the local group, and the foreign group, the foreign professor, our counterpart, and we make a link. So the class is within the country, but only like divided. It's called the blended when we put together these borders. So that's how we work. And regarding the vaccination, the COVID-19, just information from you, the operator of all that topic is the Russian Direct Investment Fund. So basically, if again you would like to get a deep understanding of what is happening with the vaccination, you can again apply to them. They are working on that on a strategic way, and I know they work with partners, with private companies also. So please apply to them; they will help them in industry.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Andre, for your questions. Anyone wants to ask? We still have time.
I think there is a question in the chat. Maybe Rizky can
Check. I'm sorry, I didn't see the questions on chat.
It's about the
it's from
ranking.
Nabila.
Ranking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about the ranking. Yeah, I could announce if you want.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw it.
Okay.
Oh, the question is to Mr. Oleg Remiga, Tatiana Paltaviets, and Mr. Satoyo. Yeah, why the ranking of the Russian university are not as good as university in the US or other European countries? And the second question, does the Russian government facilitate internships for Indonesian students and alumni of Russia? If yes, what kind of procedures as the requirements? If not, this can be a way for increasing Indonesia and Russia in education sector and employment or labor cooperation sector. The first question is about ranking.
I believe Tatiana would be best person to answer since she's representing the university. I can just give you the private opinion on that, if you like.
Okay. Actually, the interpreter of Mrs. Tatiana, Mr. I forgot his name.
Yes, I'm here.
Nikolai.
Yes.
Да. Я внимательно прочитала вопрос, да, почему рейтинги такие низкие. Наверное, одним из показателей, из индикаторов вхождения того или иного университета в мировые рейтинги является количество иностранных студентов, обучающихся в университетах. И когда мы говорим о развитии российско-индонезийского сотрудничества в образовательных форматах, то мы говорим как раз о том, чтобы индонезийские студенты имели возможность обучаться в российских университетах. И таким образом, конечно же, мы будем повышать свое место в международных рейтингах. На самом деле сейчас мы научились в онлайн-форматах работать, и ни один студент за прошлый год, за 2020-2021 учебный год не отчислился из университета только лишь потому, что он оказался, скажем так, в стране своего проживания. Соответственно, онлайн-форматы позволяют нам поддерживать тот уровень образования И, конечно же, для поддержания такого алюмни-сообщества необходимы и тех программ, которые требуют определенного оборудования, онлайн-образования здесь немножечко приостанавливает. Но, несмотря на это, 2021 год показал, что российские вузы открывают свои двери, открывают границы для въезда иностранных студентов. Сложный вопрос состоит в том, насколько свободно иностранные студенты могут потом вернуться домой. И сложность состоит и в транспортных связях между нашими странами, насколько студенты могут свободно перемещаться и насколько они могут выбирать, например, вуз Российской Федерации. Вузы вакцинируют иностранных студентов так же, как и предлагают вакцинироваться российским студентам.
Хорошо, спасибо за ответ.
Спасибо.
Nikolai Koprianov, could you please translate it into English for those who may not understand Russian?
Yes, I carefully read the question, and first of all, I want to say that one of the indicators of being in ranking is the number of international students. So in Russia, we must develop the number of international students and to make them have an opportunity to study in Russia with no limits. So at this year, we learned how to work with different format. And in this year, no one in our university was disvisited because of being in foreign country. So time has shown that Russia opens up in educational sphere and everyone has opportunity to study abroad.
Okay, and so it answers all of the questions.
Также вы можете адресовать на электронную почту ваш запрос по процедуре, по условиям стажировки, обмена студентами, и мы направим в соответствующие школы, те, которые интересуют как раз кто задает нам вопрос. Обращайтесь, пожалуйста, на электронную почту со своими вопросами, мы обязательно вам ответим.
Also, if you have questions for Tatiana Protовец, please send them on mail, and so we'll answer you at the most short time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the translation. Any more questions? Anyone wants to ask?
Maybe I think it's already clear enough. We already discussing a lot of things today. Maybe it's good to us to hear from Oleg Remiga, from Tatiana Poltavets, and the other speakers. I think it's already enough.
Mohon maaf saya ada pertanyaan. Tapi itu kepada orang-orang Rusia.
Давайте.
Задавайте вопросы.
Вот мы обсуждали торговый оборот между Россией и Индонезией. $2 миллиарда и все такое. Скажите, а вообще нужны люди с индонезийским языком, которые его знают? Или английского достаточно? Ну, для чего я учил 10 лет язык?
Вы можете на английский, чтобы для текста...
Нет, это к русским только. Ну, вообще, нужны в работе?
Что имеете в виду там?
Вопросы?
Еще повторите, пожалуйста, вопрос какой-то там, о чем?
У нас вот большой торговый оборот с Индонезией, правильно?
Да, есть большие.
Импорт-экспорт. А нужны люди, которые знают индонезийский язык, русские люди с индонезийским?
Ну, с точки зрения, это просто номера, то есть как бы отношения между странами увеличились на сколько там торгуют, то есть как бы с такими условиями мы можем знать столько на самом деле, ну, России, Индонезии, просто ради информации, отношения. Ну, по оборот, да, вы имеете в виду, почему-то объяснили по оборот 2 миллиарда рублей, нужны ли информация?
Bukan nanya. Ini saya nanya, apa orang-orang yang bisa bahasa Indonesia dibutuhkan dalam ini? Dalam bisnis di antara Rusia dan Indonesia?
Конечно.
Tapi gak ada lowongan kerjaan. Saya cari kerja dengan bahasa Indonesia udah lama, tapi gak ada.
Так, то тогда это вопрос не ко мне. Может быть, сейчас, потому что пандемия, так бы сложная ситуация между визами, поэтому каждой компании очень сложно предлагать иностранцы работать в Индонезии, и российские компании сложно предлагать работник индонезийский. Насколько я понимаю, есть некоторые компании, как массаж на Бали, то есть жалуются, что с ним условия работников очень сложно, потому что в России же требования сначала найти местные 3 месяца, потом тогда можно работать иностранцы. И то же самое, как в Индонезии. То есть, чтобы иностранцы работать в Индонезии, нужно предложение сначала для местных. Если не получается, так бы нет, грубо говоря, экспортов, тогда нужно это.
Хорошо. I'm sorry for interrupting you, gentlemen, but we have limited time. So I think we're running out of time. So I will return to the MC. So thank you for our nice discussions.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the event. Thank you, speakers, participants, and Permira for all support that has been given so this event can run successfully. We hope you learn something new and have had a good learning experience here. Wishing you nothing more but success in the future. Before we end this webinar, I would love to read one Russian proverb I personally like. Azbuka к мудрости ступенька. Alphabet is the step to wisdom. So you have to learn to walk before you can run. We believe this is our first step to go further. I represent the committee on duty. I apologize for the wrong words or actions. Thank you so much and see you next time.
Спасибо вам.